You're recording a video or not?
Yeah.
This is a video?
It's recording, yeah.
You're going to be streaming live here?
Yeah, you can go there now. You'll see the broadcast.
Okay, well, that's what you always say. This doesn't always work out, but I trust you.
That's life in the big city.
This is not the big city. This is the shtetl.
This is Brooklyn.
Thank God we don't live in the big city. We live in the shtetl.
All right, this is Brooklyn, not Kansas.
See.
All right. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
I'm in the mouth.
All right, that's richtig jetzt. Ay, ay, ay. We are in Golas, but we don't like it. That's also my opinion.
Yeah.
Right?
We have
Oh my gosh. Let me innocent. You're really telling the truth tonight. I don't believe it.
What's that? It works.
I see you, Rabbi Fatih.
All right. Nira ve'inareya.
You know what? It is possible to do that too these days with Skype or Zoom.
That's right.
You know, you could teach the class on Zoom, and all of your students all over the world could call in,
Zoom,
and you'd see them and you.
Something new. I don't have any Zoom. Skype, I heard. I have Skype.
Let me in if I have to get Zoom.
Anyway, l'chaim, l'chaim.
Chaya.
The Rebbe should help us that we should have Yiras Shamayim, and Ahavas Yisrael, and that what you learn, number one, it should be the correct thought and the correct thought process, and it should find some kind of a crack and crevice in our mind that it should actually be accepted, which is always a source of chayas of life. We should help him that, as the Rebbe says, Sh'ayim Beis is a hachona for Mashiach, and every time we come into a new phase of it, a new side, I said to myself, Beinish and Elam, who is this participating in this learning? Particularly when we came into this minor, I said, this is completely out of whack. But Hashem, you guys, you're holding up. The Rebbe should help you hold up until you break through the whole Golus, and you'll greet Mashiach together. L'chaim, l'chaim. yechidah Yisrael Chaim. Yeah. Yeah, die. To explain that Chassidus and Kabbalah is usually kind of associated, correlated. Chassidus is based on Kabbalah and so forth, which is in a certain sense true because Kabbalah is Pnimis Ateir and Chassidus is in for looking for the Pnimis Ateir. But in truth, it says that if Kabbalah is chaya, you know, the Nebuchadnezzar Nefesh Ruch Neshama chaya yechidah. So Kabbalah is chaya, Chassidus is yechidah. Chassidus is deeper than Kabbalah, and it's higher than Kabbalah. Relative to Kabbalah, Chassidus is yechidah, and Kabbalah is chaya. That's kind of a little bit odd, because when you look at Kabbalah, you have oisios, and it's kind of oisios, superworldly oisios. And Chassidus brings everything down to an understandable level. Not only understandable in seichel, but it should actually permeate one's mind and affect one's heart, and then translate in terms of chayas in Torah mitzvahs, which is mamash participating, so to speak, in human life in the world. That seems to be odd to say that this is yechidah, which is yochid, only Elokus, completely out of the world. Chaya means that which gives chayas. When yechidah, this is yochid, this is totally out of this world. And in fact, the answer to this paradoxical question is that this is in fact the reason that it is possible to present Chassidus to a human mind, and he should be able to be absorbed and related to, and it should have an effect. And the reason that, oh boy, what?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Somebody say hello.
Hi.
That we're unable to hear the audio on the phone, and broadcast was interrupted. But the
You
audio
sound like
on the
you're playing
phone-
piano.
What?
Translate.
You sound like you're playing piano.
Calling in today.
It's not coming through well. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, what did you want to say, brother? Try again.
I think that's what he wanted to say, that he's unable to hear.
As we explained, I mentioned, we had a talk on this week or last week about oil. That even the Gashmius, when you call oil, we don't realize how phenomenal that the whole experience is. And that is that with oil, you relate directly to the reality. There is no intermediary that brings it to you. This is why in halacha, and explained many times, in halacha, a witness can only be one who actually saw the actual occurrence. Somebody who saw all the circumstantial situations, all the entire circumstances. And there's no doubt as to what happened. There's no possibility of doubt in what happened. Is not a witness. A witness is only one who actually saw the actual occurrence, the actual act.
You mean it's not a judge? I'm sorry, I missed that.
What?
A witness who saw the whole thing?
A witness who saw the circumstances that compel you to conclude that something such and such happened is not a witness. It's an amazing thing. You have doubt as to what happened, there's no possibility of doubt. And yet he's not a witness. If he saw, he's a witness. And what's the difference? The difference is that when he saw the act, it was like it was the Meibashter showing it to him. He didn't see the act from a worldly perspective. He saw the godly reality. And this is why he is a witness. When he testifies, it's like he says, God told me to tell you such and such. This is a witness. If he saw the circumstance and we can deduce as to what happened, it's your deduction. It's a humanly created truth. No question it's true. But still, there's no godly consequences as a result. The halacha, the interesting things in the Torah, it says that if somebody committed, God forbid, a capital sin, and there's capital punishment as a result, and who adjudicates the capital punishment? Who pronounces that this is what's going to have to happen? Sanhedrin, the best, on the basis of the witness of what Sanhedrin makes an announcement, this is what's going to happen. And then the Torah says, who should actually execute the final verdict? The witnesses. Yad Ha'edim, by the witnesses. Sanhedrin, they pass the day. Sanhedrin should have a henchman who has this kind of activity. He doesn't know the Eidos has to do. Because if God forbid somebody gets capital punishment, a human being cannot administer capital punishment to another human being. It is entirely in the jurisdiction of God Himself. To take life and give life is entirely in God's hand. Human being cannot do it. The witnesses, they are actually emissaries, so to speak. They actually represent the godly truth. That's why they can do it. Yes, sir.
What happens if logically it points in this direction? This is what could have happened, what should have happened, what did happen? And then comes a witness and says the opposite. I saw. Why do you believe him? Because he said it's him, and this is something that it's like a given. This is what happened. He goes against that. Why would we go with the witness rather than, in other words, he could be saying the truth, he could be not saying the truth. This, the reason when I say it's a given, makes more sense it's the truth. Why would you believe?
You cannot paskin on that, on the basis of that it makes sense. This is your sense. This kind of things can only be administered by the Meibush himself.
How do you know he's telling the truth? You don't, unless
he has the authority, the God-given authority, to do this, and on that basis he's done. It's a famous story I mentioned many times with Shimon and Shetach. You know the story of Shimon and Shetach? Shimon and Shetach was so observed somebody chasing somebody with a knife. So he followed him. And the other men ran into a cave, and the man with the knife ran into the cave after him, and Shimon and Shetach followed him. He came into the cave, this man is lying on the ground in a pool of blood, and the man with the knife has a knife, a bloody knife. And Shimon and Shetach said, I know exactly what happened to me. But you're out of my hands. I can't testify. I didn't see it happen.
The Rambam brings that case in a lot of
So I'm saying, coming back to the union of Chassidus, this is like Oyer. even Bagashmis, Oyer does not tell you what it is. It tells you what it is. When there is Oyer, the object tells you about itself. It cannot be anything truer than that. And the same thing is in Chassidus. Chassidus is an Oyer Leki, and it lets the world tell you about itself. This is the Chassidus.
The or does not tell you what it is, the thing itself tells you what it is, because it's direct perception.
That's it. And this is why it has such a profound, at least it should have such a profound effect on the person. Because in this, the person has direct connect to the truth itself. Not indirect, not I know what the truth is, but he and the truth become one thing. So that learning Chassidus and understanding Chassidus is not a common method of understanding. That's why Chassidus we use Mishalim. All the way back to the Hashem Tov and the Alter Rebbe, and later on in the Amoshel. What is the meaning of Amoshel? Amoshel is not a likeness. From this you can draw this, from this you can draw this. Amoshel is a pshat. And the Rebbe created the world. And the world is created in the image of Torah, in the image of God, the human being, and the whole world is Mistakil B'Raisa Wara'al. The world was created in the image of Torah. So every moshel that we have in Torah is not an opportune method of correlating things. It is exactly that same thing, except on a lower level. And as it developed into the world that we said many times, Chokhmah is sight. Sight is a moshel of Chokhmah. No. Sight is Chokhmah in the physical realm. Just as physically, sight is that fundamental substantiator of the reality of the world. Chokhmah in the neshama level, in the ruchnisike level, is exactly that same thing. That's why Chokhmah is the first thing. There has to be Chokhmah and then Bina. Even though Bina makes sense. Bina, we elaborate and we present arguments and reasons and proofs. This is the way it is. It should be. It could not be any other way. And yet, Bina is based on the Chokhmah. Not the other way around. The reason Bina has to be based on Chokhmah, because if you don't have that spark of truth in your seichel, it makes no difference what you understand. This is like in the court. You know what the truth is, but you don't have the witness. You don't have the reality. Chokhmah is the real relationship with the reality itself. Bina has value because Bina is a derivative, derives its insights, its explanations from Chokhmah. This is its special quality, special value. Because Bina has this ability of accessing what's doing inside the Chokhmah. Even though, as I said, Bina enriches this thing and elaborates and proves it, builds it up into a structure. Its main thing is the You know that a human being lives physically. Whenever there's a process in a human being, a physical process, there's the bloodstream and there's the heart and the oxygen, a whole system that keeps him alive physically. Imagine that your knowledge of a person being alive is by knowing this whole anatomy system. I know he's alive because his bloodstream and he's pumping and he's doing. Imagine that would be your source of knowledge of his life. That's not knowledge at all. Seeing life supersedes all of that. That's Chokhmah. Only Chokhmah can see life directly. Then Bina can come in and explain how that actually functions on a physical level. This is why whenever I curse a person, say, "Abracha asher yotzei b'chokhmah, makovim lekom chalulim chalulim," it's a whole system. A system is wondrous, ingenious. And this is only to enable the chayas to come through into the Gashmi. But this is not the chayas. This is what Chassidus is saying. Chassidus is even deeper than Kabbalah. Kabbalah gives chayas. Chassidus is the chayas itself. Yechidah. Chassidus is like one would actually see guidance directly. This is the Chassidus, it's showing it directly. This is the mashal. Mashal is, if you think into the mashal that's being shown, you see there is an godly phenomenon there. Literally a godly phenomenon. Something that you cannot explain in worldly terms at all. And yet, you can't explain in worldly terms. And yet, you relate to, you see it. How do you see it if you can't explain it? How do you understand it? How does it become real to you if you can't understand it? It's because there's a quality in the person that's called Chokhmah. Just like sight. In sight, you see what you see. If it doesn't make sense, that doesn't question the sight. Doesn't weaken you having seen it. You see it because it's real. The truth is, it's impossible for a human being to fathom the episode of Rahman Salam of murder.
Murder?
Yeah. It's so totally contrary to his sense of reality. I was able to witness it. But in Chochmah, you see what you see, it's not dependent on it making sense, and you'll be able to understand. So with Chochmah, you're able to see that which is completely superior to your understanding. This is why with Chochmah it says, this is like Chassidus and Kabbalah. You see the Elokus itself. Not in human terms, not in modern terms, but Elokus in the Elokus terms. With Chassidus, Elokus becomes your bloodstream. Chaim.
Is Chassidus the or is Chassidus?
Yellow Chaim.
For me?
Yeah.
Right.
We have a Tzah Mashkin and he's a lion.
Yeah.
Is Chassidus the or is Chassidus the thing we're seeing?
You know something? Just think of all the things that we discussed.
Chassidus the thing that we're seeing through.
Ya ma And let's confess. Talking about bringing tonight, I said, no way. I saw Mashke at the front, he helped us. L'chaim, l'chaim. No. The bringer has to have its own inspiration.
Fine.
Chaim,
Our own expression.
huh?
Good. Fine.
All right, everybody knows that this year is a Shnaz Hagheil. And the Rebbe was remember some Rebbe's innovation. We have Hagheil. It's a mitzvah in the Torah. The year after Shemitah should be Hagheil. But historically, it was never known as a noted moment, as a moment to be noted. I would venture to say, and I apologize if this is off, but this is my own thought. The idea of Hagheil required a melech. Because in Hagheil, the melech would stand up on a bima, as is described. They built a bima. Rashi says, a bima shel eitz, a bima of wood, a higher structure, and the melech would walk up on this bima, and from this bima he spoke. In addition to speaking, he also read Parshas in the Torah. And the Rambam says that all the people gathered there had a mitzvah to stand in awe and listen to every word that the Melech is reading. Because the Melech is a shliach from the Meibusha. And they would listen, they would hear it as they would hear it directly from the Meibusha. In order to hear from the Melech, again, this is my own thinking, it's not it, but nevertheless, in order to hear the Melech and sense that he's hearing from the Meibusha, there are two things required. One is that the Melech is totally and entirely devoted to the Meibusha. Bottled. He's transmitting the Hashem's words. 100%. 1,000%. It's totally permeated with that. This whole chayas is this transmitting Hashem's words. The other requirement is, which is much more difficult to come by, to be a chassid. To hear it from the Melech, like hear from the Melech, you have to be bottled to the Melech. This is a much more difficult thing to come by. The Melech, he's a supreme individual. But we're a little pipsikel, that is a little, that's a real thing. And when the Rebbe established, I just want to finish my little thought here, from Haghel today, that is a very powerful statement. A statement about the Rebbe that we don't need to say, we can't even begin to speak about. We speak a statement about Chassidus. And the Rebbe says, look, if you ask the elders, they will tell you. There was never such bittul to Rebbe as it is, as today.
As what?
As today. But never. On the highest levels. There was bittul to Rebbe, of course. But the bittul that we have today supersedes any that imaginable. Just project, we got used to it as if, and we don't realize how phenomenal this is. A couple, newlywed couple, with a baby. Back up. Normally, everybody knows when you have a baby, who is in your home all the time with the baby?
Mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law, the mother, or the sisters, or the cousins. This young couple picks up, flies off to a Netherlands land, to a third world country, where the medical system is wanting. When you need to go to a doctor, you have to fly to a doctor. We don't have this kind of medicine that we used to. I remember Al Hashem Simcha Zerkin did in Montreal. Simcha Zerkin was a shliach, went to Tunis. Tunis is an Arab country. Pinson was there for many years, and he came to Tunis. So I remember he came to visit with all his kids. Just, first thing I have to do is take my kids to the doctor. To the doctor. Let the doctor examine my children. You know, a normal doctor should examine everything all right. How is everything going? Okay. Blood tests, everything. The first thing you went through the whole arsenal of tests for the first time in Holland. They haven't seen a real doctor for right? Here now, first thing I have to bring him to a doctor. And this couple goes away and establishes an outpost and is dedicated completely to Avodas HaKodesh. Nowadays, Baruch Hashem, after so many years, it could be said that the shluchim do not suffer financially. I mean, they have limits. Generally speaking, they get their support from the company. After a while, they get their support from the company. But there was, going back years, they actually suffered. And even today, it's not an easy thing. And education of children, there's no such thing. The children are learning on the online school. Online school. It's very well known. Talking about online school. Online school is wonderful. Really is a wonderful thing, but it's academic. It's not the experience of a school. There's no class experience. Everybody knows that class experience is very important in the growth of a child. The Rebbe once said, I remember the circumstance, experience has shown that very small classes are not successful. Oversized classes is also too much. The Gemara says a class, one Rebbe should not have more than 25 students. Beyond that, he cannot have the proper effect, not have much more. But if the class is very small, 5 children, it's counterproductive. It's not. It doesn't have the effect. It's not successful. One of the things that happens in class is that this kid sees the other kids learning, so that automatically pushes him to learn. And what are they talking about? They're debating what they learned. They have nobody to debate with. This whole phenomenon of taking off and going to a third world country with a young family and completely be dedicated to the community and to see to it, to bring even Tachas Kama, enable people to come to Yiddishkeit, to learn Yiddishkeit, is a phenomenon that is completely novel. And I could say, I'm saying it, everybody will say, this is totally new. That the level of dedication and that spirit that came with it is totally new. Not the Chassidus to downplay, but it happened in the previous generations, especially in Russia, where Malamdim were in opposition in Russia. This cursed communism that Malamdim was teaching children, and that was his crime. So they came and they took him away. They sent him away to Siberia or who knows where. And the next day there was another Malamdim to replace him. This was in the Frierdiker Rebbe's effect. Frierdiker Rebbe was, everybody knows me, his life, his Abisra was from A to Z, Chassidus Nefesh. Chassidus Nefesh in the full sense of the word. Full sense of the word. And he did not even try to minimize his Chassidus Nefesh. He thrived in Chassidus Nefesh. Like you know the story, he wrote himself in his notes, in Yeshivas. And he came into that office in the NKVD, into the office where he's going to be interrogated, to face his henchmen. He determined, he decided a firm decision in his own mind that he will not give them any credence whatsoever, any recognition. He's going to completely ignore them.